Today we are talking about one common link that ties together over 20 different diagnoses and different medical conditions. And these include asthma, allergies, arthritis, psoriasis, and cardiovascular disease, just to name a few. So what is that common link? Well, that's what we're talking about today. So today we're talking about inflammation. And inflammation symptoms are usually redness, swelling, pain, and it's a condition that is activated by your immune system. So your immune system is actually reacting to something and it's causing these symptoms of inflammation. So what actually is inflammation? Well, let me go a little bit deeper and explain what's really going on in the body. So inflammation is an immune response. Your immune system is involved in the degree of inflammation that's going on. So when something's not right in your body, your immune system is going to protect you as best it can. And actually, inflammation is a protector. It's trying to counteract whatever is going on. And the way that it does that is it releases certain types of immune cells. One is called prostaglandins, and another one is called leukotrienes. And you don't have to memorize these names, but it's important to realize that when there's an inflammatory response going on in your body, your immune system starts making these cells, and especially in large numbers if it's something big is happening. And so the more of prostaglandins and leukotrienes that are going on in your body, the higher the degree of inflammation that you are going to have. So here's the breaking news. There is this substance called arachidonic acid, and it is present in a lot of foods that we eat, especially in the Western diet. And it not only promotes inflammation, but it actually directly causes inflammation in the body. So I'm going to go over ways to decrease this type of acid in your diet and to, of course, prevent inflammation. Arachidonic acid is an omega-6 fatty acid. So omega-6 fatty acids are essential fatty acids. They are necessary to have those in our diet so we don't have a deficiency. Our bodies don't make all of the omega-6 fatty acids. However, arachidonic acid is a little bit different because we can still have omega-6s in our diet so that we're not deficient without consuming the specific omega-6 arachidonic acid. So the reason why you don't want to have too much arachidonic acid is because it actually causes your immune system to make those two immune cells that we just talked about, prostaglandins and leukotrienes. So you basically can eat food that has arachidonic acid in it, and then just because you've eaten the food, now your body is signaled to start an inflammatory response and your immune system to get all ready to, fight this symptom or fight this condition when there's actually nothing even there. So you basically are starting this inflammatory process for no reason. So now we know that arachidonic acid directly causes inflammation. So what types of foods and where is this arachidonic acid present in? Well, it is highest in farm-raised animals and farm-raised seafood. And the reason why this is because the food that they are given in the farms in the farm-raised setting is different from what their natural diet should be. So for example, with farm-raised salmon, which happens to be the animal or the fish that is highest in arachidonic acid, they are given a food that is not natural to what they are supposed to have in nature. And that difference in diet changes the composition of their own tissue. So then when we now eat that farm-raised animal, we are getting that elevated amount of arachidonic acid, which makes our immune system promote inflammation. So without getting too complex, just want to reiterate the point that farm-raised animals and meat products have more arachidonic acid than non-farm-raised and organic has. So now that we have this information, what do you do with it? Well, here are some recommendations, especially for those of you who are currently inflamed or currently have one of these diagnoses that we mentioned. Number one, Reduce your intake of farm-raised animals and farm-raised seafood, and especially of farm-raised salmon. That's the #1 food containing the highest amount of arachidonic acid. #2, eat grass-fed animals and animal products rather than the grain-fed animals and animal products. So if you're buying organic, that is a safe bet to know that they are going to be grass-fed. And that is going to allow you to have lower amounts of arachidonic acid in the food and high amounts of omega-3s. And omega-3 fatty acids are the fats that are considered anti-inflammatory. So the more omega-3s you have in your diet, the less inflammation you can have. #3, consume foods low on the glycemic index. Now, if you are not sure what the glycemic index is, we have made some other videos about that, so please refer to those for answers to any questions that you might have. But basically, this would be cutting out all refined sugar, limiting high starch foods, and specifically just avoiding like desserts and sugar, basically. And the reason why that's so important in regards to inflammation is because when you have a high sugar diet, your pancreas is constantly secreting insulin. And the higher amounts of insulin that you have in your body, the more that signals arachidonic acid to be converted to those immune cells that cause inflammation. And #4, you want to have a nutrient-dense diet and especially have enough of the vitamins and minerals, vitamin B3, which is niacin, vitamin B6, vitamin C, magnesium, and zinc, because these nutrients are going to help reduce the inflammatory response that your immune system goes through, as well as decrease that formation of arachidonic acid and combat the effects of inflammation. And I also wanted to give you some really good ideas and tips on what seafood to choose when you're at the grocery store. And there's good choices and then there's not so good choices. And it depends on how these types of seafood affect your inflammatory response. So good choices would be anchovies, herring, mackerel, and sockeye salmon. And good choices are also pink and chum salmon, halibut, king crab, sea bass, and tuna. And the poorest choices are tilapia, grouper, and catfish. Unfortunately, tilapia is, one of the most popular fishes in the United States. It's eaten very commonly, as well as catfish. So those are the two fish that promote inflammation the most and have the least amount of omega-3 fatty acids, which are the anti-inflammatory fats. So overall, those would be the fish that you should least likely eat.